Hi, my name is Ivie. I'm a fashion designer and a pattern drafter, and this is Ivy's Pattern. I'm going to be uploading different kinds of videos from basic or beginners level to more intermediate/advanced level. So that said, today I'd also like to talk about some common fashion terms that you'd hear me use, or you probably hear other designers use. So first, here is the basic blocks. I have a miniature versions of the basic blocks. I hope you can see. This is the front and this is the back. So they're called the pattern blocks. They are the foundations or the master patterns from which every other pattern is made or formed or drafted, whichever word you prefer. So from this, for instance, you can make tops, you can make blouses, you can make jackets, you name it. Okay, so there are basic blocks for tops, and then for the skirt and sleeve and trouser even, so they come in really handy. Next on my list is center front or the center back. I'll be using my mannequin here to explain what that is. Now, as you can see, there's a line here. That line is where the center front is. Usually, it's an invisible line, but I had to make a crease so you can see and understand what I'm explaining. So the center front line is an invisible vertical line that runs at the exact center of the front, as you can see. So when you hear CF, it's referring to the center front. That's just what it is. And then for the back, it's the same thing, except it's at the back, of course, and usually it's the point where the zipper sits. That's all what the center back or CB is. Next up, we have the wrong side of a fabric. What that is the inside of your fabric, the part that you don't see once you're putting on the garment. And then that brings us to finishing. Now, the finishing of a garment is basically putting finishing touches to your garment. So for a top like this, as you can see, the edge or the neckline is unfinished because you can see it's still rough and you can't wear it that way. So it means the garment is unfinished. There's several ways to finish a rough edge like that. You have, you can use facing or bias tape, you know, they're different, or lining even to finish that off. So it depends on what look you're going for. You know, and certain methods are more professional, I would say, than others. Next on our list, okay, so that brings us to, I guess I should talk about interfacing, okay? Maybe I'll talk about facings first. Facing is a method of finishing, like I mentioned earlier. So what it is a smaller piece of fabric, okay, that has the same shape as the fashion garment. The fashion garment is the main fabric you're working with, okay? So the facing will be just a little piece of fabric that probably ends somewhere here but extends to the shoulder. So you attach it to the one for the back as well. I hope that makes sense. But you cut, since we're finishing off the neckline, it's going to be cut with the exact same shape as the neckline. Okay, and then you add, of course, allowance to it, seam allowance to the facing and then to the fashion garment as well. So you can join them together and then turn the facing inside to the wrong side of the garment. Now, there's something that you normally find in facings. It's called fusing. People call them fusing or interfacing. They basically mean the same thing. Fusing or interfacing is a cloth or a fabric as well, but it's lighter than the normal fabric you use for your garments, and one side of it comes with a type of glue and then the opposite side comes smooth. So what you do is you fix or fuse the side with glue. You attach it to the wrong side of your fabric with the heat of an iron. So that process is called fusing. So you fuse the both of them together. The idea behind that is to give that facing or whatever part of the garment that you're fusing is to give that part some body or some weight, or to make it stiffer, a little bit stiffer than the fashion garment you're working on. You'll typically find these on the corners of a shirt or the button stands. Okay, so they put them there so they are a little bit stiffer than the fabric. So that's what fusing or interfacing is. And you should know that there's also another type of interfacing that doesn't have the side with the glue. Those are called non-fusible interfacings. All right, enough about that. Next is ease. Ease is when you add a little extra to your measurement to create better movement when you put on a dress or a garment. For instance, there are situations, I don't know if you've experienced situations where you wear a dress and it's difficult for you to sit, or it's difficult for you to move your arms because there's just not enough space in there. So that's not supposed to be the case. Ease is supposed to be added while drafting the pattern to enable you move and sit freely. So that's basically what ease is. And then number 7 item on my list is the arm side. The arm side is simply a fashion term used to define the armhole. So once you hear arm side measurement, for instance, all that is referring to is the armhole measurement. That brings us to darts. Now, as you can see, there are certain lines on these bodies. Those lines are referred to as darts. They're usually in a diamond-like shape. So they're like tucks or folds that you sew, to a tip. You sew them out to shaping your garment. Okay, like I said, when you draft a pattern, you draft it with some ease. So if you want a more clingy or fitted garment, then you have to take out the ease or the excess, and that's where darts come in. So they're used to shaping your garments. And then the last item or the last term I have on my list is notches. Notches are basically marks that help you remember not to sew rubbish, if you know what I mean. Okay, so I'll explain. Now, for instance, this is the bodice block, the basic blocks like I explained earlier. I hope you can see them. So if you notice here, there are 2 marks at the arm side or armhole of the back bodice, and then for the front there's just one of that. Now if I had a sleeve, a basic sleeve here, you'd notice that the sleeve has the same markings. Okay, so the part of the sleeve that goes to the back arm side is going to carry the exact number of notches that the back bodice carries. So in this case, the back bodice has 2. So that means the back side of the sleeve will carry 2 notches as well. And then the front side will take 1 notch. Does that make sense? I hope so. So yeah, the essence of that is when you transfer the patterns onto fabric, that's when you cut them on fabric, you also transfer your notches. So when you move to your sewing machine, it's easier for you to remember what part of the sleeve goes to the front and what part goes to the back. Trust me, it is very easy for you to forget. I have forgotten. There are times where I, cut my fabric without transferring my notches, and I regretted it. So, I mean, what's the point? Just do the right thing from the very beginning. So that's it on today's video. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your comments in the comment section below, and I'll also very much appreciate your likes, your subscriptions, and also turn on the notification bell, please, so you know when my next video comes up. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.